What's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys are doing good as always. My name is Itai. Today I'm making a strategy video about chess outposts. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and visit my brand new website at www.chessgeek.org. And now let's begin. So a chess outpost is a square where it could be considered a weak square for your opponent. And if you don't know what a weak square is, I made a video about it a couple of days back, but I'll refresh your mind. A weak square is basically a square where you have far greater control over it than your opponent. So, for example, here, this would be considered a weak square for black because you can see that white has a lot of pawns being able to defend and protect the square, whereas black, both of black's pawns that would have been able to do that have already been pushed forward. So this is a very weak square for black. And white looks to use this to their advantage by placing a minor piece, so a knight or a bishop, on the square. And the idea with that is that no longer can a pawn really kick it out, right? Because if you just place a minor piece on any square on the board, then a pawn usually will be able to just kick it out, and you'll have to move your knight back. But in weak squares for your opponent, you can make what are called outposts, which are basically spots where your knight can stay there, and the only way that really your opponent will ever be able to take the outpost back is if your opponent sacrifices material. So if your opponent had a rook or a queen, your opponent maybe would be able to sacrifice the queen or the rook. But just like this, there's no pawns that would be able to interfere. So placing the knight here would be a very strong move. Another outpost there is in this position, and I don't know if you can see it, but the other outpost is this move here. Once again, you have control over it. Although you don't have two pawns facing it, that's still enough to make it an outpost, as your opponent has no pawns on the D files that will be able to ever interfere, and the only pawn on the B file has already been pushed forward. So once again, this square is a very weak square, and you could look to use it by placing a minor piece here. And usually when we look at outpost, you can see that you have a lot of advantages by putting your outpost piece there. So for example, if we look at the knight that you want to put here, well, this knight has a lot of control on king's territory, whereas this knight here, where it is right now, doesn't do a lot. So putting a piece on an outpost usually will allow you that piece to be a very strong piece that will realistically not have to move for a long time. And same with this bishop here. This bishop right now isn't doing much, but placing the bishop here can interfere with the king's ability to move, and overall is going to be a very strong bishop. Outposts can also help you come up with a good plan. Here you can see that there aren't a lot of moves you can play. Your pawns are in a static and stuck position. You can try to form attacks with your rook, sure, but overall that doesn't look too promising. But what you can do is you can realize that this is a very weak square for your opponent. Both of the pawns have already been pushed forward. The bishop that your opponent has is a light square bishop. If this bishop was a dark square bishop, then this could be a different story, because even if you manage to make this into an outpost, a dark square bishop can obviously just come here and try to trade the knight. Okay, but because this is a light square bishop, the only piece that can ever take the knight here is this rook, and obviously that's a trade that you're very happy to make. So this would be a very strong place to make an outpost with your knight, which is also kind of a plan for you now. Outposts can help you come up with a couple move plans. So here you can say, I need to get to this square, here's my plan. So you could play this move, it comes with check actually, and then you could play this move and it comes with an attack. So already you can see how powerful the outpost can be, and you can see that it's controlling a lot of squares on your opponent's territory. So this is a very good outpost, and there's nothing that can kick it out. In fact, here it's actually even a stronger outpost than usual, because this bishop has to move to allow the rook to ever trade it. But even so, the rook probably will not want to trade it. So most likely this is a permanent outpost that will never be challenged by any piece. Okay, so that is the video that I have for Outpost. You can come up with very nice plans to get your pieces in strategic, positions on the board where they're very protected and there's no pawns or, equal value pieces that can try to capture it or trade it. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you check out my brand new website at www.chessgeek.org. Subscribe if you're a new one. I'll see y'all next time.